Welcome everybody to AI TV. We're broadcasting live from AI Expo Africa 2020 online. This year, because of COVID, we've taken the event virtual. Just like many other things this year, it's been a big year of change. So this year we're broadcasting globally online, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome the CEO of Ashanti AI, Takalani. Welcome to the event, Takalani. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Nick. And thanks to the viewers around the world.
Yeah, obviously this is going to go up onto YouTube. So the AI TV captures the spirit of what's happening at the event. Normally we have this set up as a sort of media center at the event, but it's great to welcome you. You want to tell us a little bit about Ashanti AI and what you guys are doing?
Okay. Ashanti AI, so, you know, we get that question a lot. And then I was like, what would be like a 2-sentence liner to describe what Ashanti does? So we're a group of data scientists. So we use data science and AI technology, so your machine learning and deep learning, to solve a number of problems, right? Business problems, very specific business problems, with 3 objectives that we need to take out, right? The first one being, you need to increase profits. So AI, whatever we implement in your business, needs to lead to an increase in revenue or profits. It needs to decrease any efficiencies. And also, it just enables you to make decisions faster, okay? And then Ashanti, when we started, like a number of companies in South Africa, we were like a professional services business. So we would go into a company, the likes of Absa and Anglo would then say they would either have a defined set of models for us to build, right? Or they'll have a defined set of problems that they want us to solve. So with the models part, we'll come in, build the model, and they will then deploy. And with the, what do you call this thing? With the problems, we will then define how we actually, we'll solve that and how we'll actually deploy that.
And what sort of problems are Ashanti being asked to solve? Just sort of a real world problems that you guys are trying to solve using artificial intelligence.
Okay, so there's a number of them, but I think there are 2 big ones that we solved that were quite like a success story for us, right? So for example, we're working with a marketing company, so they're a lead generation company. So they send out SMSs in the morning, and then they ask people to either buy funeral cover or get a loan. And the idea was that you can build a machine learning model that will determine who is more likely to actually respond to the SMS, right? Depending on whatever attributes of that. And then we implemented that, and that was quite successful. And we are busy with a very, very interesting project at the moment. It's with a recruitment company, and basically, instead of a candidate, you know, you go to these recruitment sites, you upload your CV, you type your CV, and you do the search. You just it's a 1-step process. You register on the platform, and then you basically upload your CV, and basically our AI model / machine learning model, given what's on your CV, it then recommends jobs that are already active that you qualify for. So there's not a lot of work that you're going to do as a candidate. Similarly, on the other side, as a recruiter, you find candidates for you without you even waiting for them to apply to the job, and then you then go through the sifting process of who's the most qualified. So it then cuts up. It's basically the aim of that is to cut down the recruitment cycle time in which clients would then need to find someone or to replace someone. So those are, but then and then in addition to that, we also have a separate part of the business where we actually develop our own products, and they are very much focused on supply chain. And by supply chain, I mean logistics and warehousing, right? So we've got a Smart Predict product. It's a full solution. We come in, plug in our devices, and then it then starts reading data for us. It aggregates all the sensors that we have on that particular machine or vehicle, and it then basically sends their data to us. We transform the data, process it, and start predicting when particular failures are going to happen. And then the other one is a labor management, is a warehouse labor management tool. You can say that's AI powered. So it basically reads a lot of information from your ERP systems, and then it then starts what's called prescribing how many people you need to have on the floor of a warehouse. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, you're saying that you're a company, I think, of eight or nine people. I mean, that's quite an achievement for, you know, a company that's young and upcoming like yourselves. What advice would you give to, you know, a young person, entrepreneur or an engineer just leaving university to get inspired by what you're doing? And what sort of steps would you recommend they take so they could really follow in your footsteps?
There's a lot. I think that the first thing that I would recommend is to any young person who wants to be an entrepreneur is to get in the habit of asking why and why things work the way they do. And why, and for example, when you walk inside a store, why do I have to walk in this direction to get a particular good? Because there's a reason for that. And then is there a way that I can solve that? Or when you're in a restaurant, what do you do? So that then builds a spirit of being inquisitive. And I think a lot of successful entrepreneurs are inquisitive people, and they're always out there to find solutions, right? That's one thing. And I think it's also just getting experience, right? Funny enough, I'm an advocate of getting corporate experience before you start your own business, because I think you learn a lot of the basics of how a business works when you're in corporate.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to then start from the bottom end, and then you can just build and solve particular problems. But what's quite important, is basically just trying to understand what the problem is you're trying to solve, and there are different techniques in which you can find that, and then finding solutions to that.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing, it's interesting you say about getting a corporate job initially. I mean, I guess that's what I did. I didn't become an entrepreneur until later in my career, but I think a lot of the Hollywood television entrepreneur lifestyle, if you want to call it that, it's a lot harder in reality. And I think if you leave university thinking it's going to be one way, and then you quickly find it's actually a lot harder than it looks on TV, then it can be a bit disappointing. So I think, if you can get a job, an internship, maybe into a big corporate and work there, get some experience, and also learn how a business thinks, because a lot of people don't realize that big businesses take time. They move slowly. Their processes aren't quick necessarily, although obviously AI and RPA is going to help them. But yeah, they don't magically create purchase orders in days. It takes a long time. So again, that's another interesting point of advice I think you can give to people. But so what's the future now for you guys? So you're at the show. You gave a talk, I believe, and you've got a booth. How are you finding the show?
This show is quite interesting. So this is our first year, and given the feedback, we've already interacted with a number of people who are interested in our services, and just knowing what's out there is also quite interesting. So definitely, we might be become a resident of the show.
Well, that's great. Well, hopefully next year we won't be doing this. We can actually have a glass of wine and a conversation and a bite to eat. But what is the future now for Ashanti? What have you got lined up in terms of some big projects? Just to wrap up.
Just to wrap up. Okay, so we're still going to continue with our professional services part of the business, but then we're moving a lot to our products. So we've got POCs running with our products, and we are going to close that off and then really go to market and
take a product to market. Right. Yeah. Well, when you do that, we should interview you, and you can tell everybody about that product. But good luck with that launch. I know there's been a couple of product launches at the show today already. I know Zindi added a recruitment element to their platform, which they launched at the show 2 years ago. So it is a good place to create a buzz around your product, and we look forward to welcoming you back next year. So thanks for joining us on AI TV, and enjoy the rest of the day.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me, Nick, and hope and all the best to with the rest of the expo.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.